What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 4. Today, I'm here with same crew as last night. Danny and Brendan. Guys, say what's up.
What's up?
So,
how y'all doing?
Pretty good. How about you, Danny?
I'm doing okay.
So, today we have a special episode planned out for you guys. We realized that last night we got distracted a lot by the Browns, and that kind of carried over to make it over an hour episode. So, right now we're going to do a Browns-only episode. And today we're going to talk about the new uniforms that are coming out, I believe the 16th or 15th?
I don't think they made an announcement, but they said coming soon.
15th?
Oh, the 15th.
Oh, it is the 15th?
They made an announcement the 15th.
Okay.
So, the 15th of April, the new uniforms that are coming out. Second off, we'll talk about free agency, what we think's going to happen in free agency, and what our opinions about what happened already in free agency. Third, we're going to talk about what we think's going to happen in the draft, and I believe this is very obvious, but we'll talk about what happens in the draft. And then finally, we're going to talk about the all-decade team of the Browns, which was, for me, very hard to make because we've been so bad. Yeah, it was just a very hard list to make. But
It's fun, though.
Yeah, it was fun, yeah. So next, first we'll start off with the new uniforms. I'm not going to lie, I'm very excited for these things. I think they're adding an old, 2010 twist with the white on top of brown and the brown on top of white. Those are my favorite uniforms, ever. And
I want all orange. I want the nice all orange look.
I don't like the all orange
I don't
look,
like
to
the
be
all
honest.
orange either.
I like it.
I like the orange pants. I don't like the orange jersey.
Yeah. But no. I like the orange jersey as long as it's on top of white.
White.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think if we do all orange, we just look like Clemson.
Yeah.
Honestly. Nothing against Clemson. It's just that, the goal is to make you look like an NFL team, not a college team.
Yeah, exactly.
That they look as clean as the Bucs jerseys did, and don't look as bad as the Falcons jerseys did.
Yeah, I hated the Falcons jerseys. They were gross.
They look like the team from the longest yard.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mean machine.
Yeah.
Mean machine.
But yeah,
I'm looking forward.
nothing's changed in the helmet, so that's good.
Yeah.
I think it's just I don't think it's gonna be much different from what it is now. I think they're just gonna clean up a few things. I mean, honestly, as long as they get rid of the orange numbers on the jersey, which I'm not a big fan of,
And the Cleveland across the top.
and they get rid of the giant Cleveland across the top that looks like a college uniform, then
Yeah.
I think we'll be good.
I want a clean, modern uniform. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah. So we're pretty excited about this new era of the Browns, as you could say. So next up, we'll go on to free agency. So free agency, a big signing period for the Browns. First off, we'll start with probably the biggest deal of free agency, Austin Hooper. Tight end from the Falcons, signed him to a 4-year deal. I'm not sure how much money.
$11 million per year.
$11 million per year.
Oh dang!
Yeah.
Highest paid tight end in the NFL history.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a very, very good signing for the Browns. I know we probably are a little late on this, but I think we all have a lot to say.
Yeah.
I don't think this means anything for Njoku. I mean, if you remember Mayfield's rookie year, Landry and Higgins both had fantastic seasons, yes, but, Mayfield, he loves his tight ends. And last year with Njoku gone with injury for most of the season, you could really tell that Mayfield's passing wasn't as good as it was the previous year. I mean, that also had to do with the offensive line, but we'll talk about that later when we talk about Conklin and the draft. But, I think that Kevin Stefanski, he ran a lot of 2 tight end sets in Minnesota, and I think that Hooper fits that Stefanski scheme perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, if you look through college and through Baker's 2 years in the league, his favorite people to hit are his tight ends. I mean, in college,
Exactly.
he had 1 TDs with Mark Andrews, 5 with Njoku so far, and even in the 1 year that Ricky Seals-Jones was here, he had 5 TDs with him. The tight ends to Baker are the biggest targets for him to shoot at, other than Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, and that was one of Kitchens' big downfalls, in my opinion, is that he just didn't utilize the tight ends as much as he should have.
Yeah,
and he put. I mean, I understand he was under a lot of pressure to give Odell and Landry a lot of touches, but you got to do what's best for your quarterback, number one, and that's how you win.
Yeah, and another big reason. I don't think Njoku is going to go anywhere because Stefanski loves running double tight end sets. We saw a lot of that in Minnesota, and I think this is huge for Baker Mayfield because, like you guys said, tight ends are his number one target, and with 2 star tight ends like Njoku and Hooper, that'll be huge for Baker. I will say though, they overpaid him. I don't think he's worth $11 million a year. I don't think Case Keenum's worth however much they paid him. I think Conklin was the only one they hit on the dot. But I just think they gotta. I think Barry paid a little too much money. Now I know they're a win now team. They're not looking to go 6-10 again, and get a number 10 overall pick. They wanna be a contender. And I think signing guys for long like that's huge. We still have Odell for, I believe, another 5 years. We still have Landry for 3 years, and I don't even think Landry's going anywhere. Now we have Hooper and Conklin for 4 and 3 years. Huge pickups, but I do think they went a little crazy on the spending money portion of it.
I disagree with that.
I disagree as well.
But as you can remember, we have the most cap space in the NFL still. With that much money spent, and we still have the most cap space, we could still sign 1 or 2 more people to long-term deals, and then we could even pay Myles Garrett this offseason if we wanted to, and still have enough money for the future.
Yeah, the other thing is like, we have a lot of guys on rookie contracts, so we can afford to spend a lot of money. Because if you look at the amount of years on each contract, it's usually like I think Hooper, the 4-year, was the most years that anyone got in this free agency for the Browns. And that's just because, Barry, he's bracing for the Garrett contract he's going to have to sign in 2 years. The Mayfield contract he's going to have to sign in 3 years. The Ward contract he's going to have to sign in 3 years, The
Myles contract the Garrett contract is next season. And then
that's next season?
Yeah, and the Baker contract's the season after that, so we got to make sure.
Well, they're probably going to pick up the 5th-year options on both of them.
Yeah.
Well, Myles, they did not pick up the 5th-year option, and then Njoku, they haven't picked up the 5th-year option on.
Can they still do that, though?
They said they wouldn't.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're just trying to get it over with then.
I think they're going to see how Njoku plays after the season.
Well, I think Garrett's a pretty easy lock for...
Yeah, Garrett's going to get signed, and I think Ogunjobi is going to get signed.
Wait, is Njoku done this? Njoku is done this year?
After this year, his contract's upped.
All
and
right.
we got a lot of other guys up. So
I'm sure they'll try to sign him. I'm sure they'll try to sign him to a small deal.
This wasn't a big season before, because we only had to sign those 3 guys, and then 3 or 4 backups. Now we had to sign those 3 guys plus all the guys that we signed to a 1-year contract this year, which is Carl Joseph, Sendejo, Josephs, I think it was, or Johnson, Kevin Johnson, I think it was.
Yeah, I think the 1-year contract guys are more prove-it deals as opposed to
I think Carl Joseph's going to prove
deals. I don't think any of those guys are ever going to get big money with this team, and I think that they're more just like placeholders for bridging between now and rookies that Barry is going to draft.
Yeah.
Carl Joseph, I don't think is a placeholder deal. I think this is a prove-it year, and if he plays well, he's going to get a contract for 2 or 3 years.
I mean, Joseph's very good. His only problem is injuries.
You can't trust him, though, man. You saw Peyton Hillis. Peyton Hillis had the best year of his career, and he was probably the best running back in the league at that time, second to Adrian Peterson. But then we saw what happened. He just fell off. And you can't trust something like that.
Yeah, but Carl Joseph is
That's why even after the first year the 1 year prove it deal, I mean, I don't think Carl Joseph is ever going to get like a huge deal from the Browns.
I don't think he's going to get like
if he okay.
As big a deal Jamal Adams is, but I think he'll get a deal, like a 1 or 2 year deal, to see if he still can prove it, and if he still can.
Yes. If he proves himself for multiple years, go ahead, sign him. Sign him to. All right, so this is his prove himself year deal. Has a good year. I'm saying sign him to a small deal still. If he's asking for more money, let him go because.
Or franchise tag him.
Yeah, or franchise tag him, exactly. Then another guy like that, then sign him to a 1-2 year deal. And then if he plays well and he's asking for the money, give him the money. If he plays well for 2 to 3 years, give him the money.
Exactly.
All right, so now we're going to move on to I would assume, second biggest deal that the Browns made. They signed offensive tackle Jack Conklin, former Tennessee Titan, to a 3-year deal this time, and I believe $1.4 million? Or was it more?
Per year?
$1 million per year.
Let's look. We'll look it up.
That sounds right.
Contract.
While you look that up, Danny and I will discuss the signing.
Yeah.
You know, we all know that the Browns' offensive line last year was one of the worst lines in the football. But the right side more so than the left, just because on the left side you still had Bitonio, so you had like a decent left side, even though Robinson really was really bad last year. But last year you didn't have a great guard or a right tackle, so that was even more noticeable. And I just think, getting Conklin, which was a deal that I did not think was going to happen whatsoever. I thought he was going to be asking for way more money than we gave him. And I thought he was going to go to a team like, I don't know, like Miami or something. Maybe not Miami, but a team with a lot of cap space that would be willing to spend it. That's a lot less analytical than we are. But I think we got Conklin on a very good deal.
$42 million. 3-year, $42 million deal.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
It just matters where we put him. If we're going to put him at right tackle and then have our guy, whoever we drafted, number 10, at left tackle, if that is an offensive tackle, or we trade for Trent Williams, he's definitely going to play left tackle, but I wonder if we're going to put Conklin at left tackle for 1 year.
I don't see that happening.
I don't think it will, but it might happen. He played left tackle at Michigan. And then a funny thing about this is that at the number 8 pick the year that Conklin was drafted, we had that pick, and then the Titans traded into that pick and gave us a bunch of picks for him. So we could have had Conklin in that draft at the pick that we were at, but then the Titans traded with us to get him.
Okay.
It's funny.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But this is a great signing. Definitely helps out the offensive line.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we're, hopefully the draft will too. So we'll move on. This is actually going pretty quick. But we'll move on to the third signing of backup QB Case Keenum. I believe on a 3-year deal.
3-year deal. I can't remember how much money.
Okay, we'll look it up again.
Well, this was a great deal because Baker has not had a mentor quarterback since Tyrod Taylor. And I mean, I don't think he's that great of a mentor quarterback. Case Keenum's been with Stefanski and his offensive scheme. He had that one great year with them in Minnesota. I think he could really help Baker out go through the years.
3-year, $18 million deal. 3-year, $18 million.
Okay, so $6 million per year.
Yeah, the other thing about Keenum that I really like is Stanton was somewhat of a mentor to Baker, but if Baker got hurt, I would not trust Stanton to go in and win us a game. Keenum is a really good quarterback. I mean, he's not a franchise-level quarterback, but he's a good enough quarterback where he can win you a couple games.
Well, if he has the pieces around you.
If he has the pieces around him and is in the right system, which he has both. He loves Stefanski. He was his quarterback coach in Minnesota. Stefanski was. And Yeah, I mean, if Baker goes down, which, knock on wood, that doesn't happen, but if he were to go down, I would have full confidence in Keenum to come in and play until Baker's ready to come back.
All right, so I believe that's all the Browns' major moves in free agency. So we'll move on to what we think is going to happen in free agency and who we think possible signings or even trades that could happen would be. So first, we'll start with you, Brendan. What do you think?
Well, there's two players that I'm really interested in terms of the Browns, one of which has been talked about a lot, being defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, and the other one which hasn't really been talked a lot about, but I am still interested in to see if he does come back or if he goes somewhere else, and that is wide receiver Rashard Higgins. Clowney, the report came out that we gave him a deal, but that fell through. I still don't think that talks with Clowney are over, and I would love to see Clowney on this team because, as we talked about yesterday, we talked about Clowney being overrated. However, I still would like to see Clowney on this team because I think this could be the perfect thing for Clowney. Because Clowney, he's not like a big producer. He's just more of a presence. And when you have a presence like that on the opposite side of Myles Garrett just goes off.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the problem that Agba and Vernon had is that they're okay, but they're not as physical as Clowney is. And, you could get about the same statistics with Clowney that you can Vernon, yes, but Clowney is an upgrade over Vernon simply because he would allow, Garrett and Ogunjobi and Sheldon Richardson and that Billings guy that we signed to get to the quarterback or running back easier.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. Clowney is a huge presence. And not only would Garrett go off, but if they do manage to get Clowney on the team, I think Clowney would start to perform more, and you'd see more production from Clowney just because Garrett is also a huge presence, and they'd be forced to go the other way, and you'd see a lot more out of Clowney this year if they were to sign the Browns. I think it's a better move for both Clowney and I think it's a big move for Clowney if he were to sign here, if he does get the contract done. Obviously, he's he needs the money. He's shown that he can make a lot of money. Not maybe the money he's asking for, but a good amount of money. And yeah, I think Clowney. I'm excited to see if he does end up signing here and what that defensive line can do with him.
I fully agree with that. He's a great presence on the defense after the loss of Gilbride and the loss of Kirksey. And with no more real big presences on that defense, especially with Vernon getting hurt a lot, who got hurt last year and had 2.5 sacks. At least Clowney had 0.5 sacks more than him. And it's going to be a bigger presence on that defensive line if we sign him.
Yeah.
So, if he does not come here, where do you think he's going to end up?
Either Seahawks or Giants.
I could see him going to the Dolphins, honestly.
Dolphins just signed Emmanuel Agba and Shaq Lawson, though, so I don't think so.
Yeah, I see either the Seahawks or the Jets for Clowney if he doesn't come here.
I think Giants.
So, what do you guys think the chances of Clowney coming here are?
I think it's okay.
Yeah, I'd say right in the middle. I wouldn't be surprised if he came here, and I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't.
I wouldn't say we're the leader. I would say the Seahawks are probably the leader right now, but I definitely say we're in second place, at chances of getting him.
Probably. It all depends on what we offered him, though, because
exactly.
The reports are that we gave him a pretty good deal, but we don't know what the exact deal was.
Yes. And maybe it's just he doesn't want to come to the Browns. Maybe that's just...
I mean, it is possible he doesn't want to play second fiddle to Myles Garrett.
Yeah, that's true also.
But he did play with J.J. Watt for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That was kind of that wasn't by choice.
I understand that. I think that Clowney kind of wants to be a solo guy.
Yeah.
Just because I think he feels that because of J.J. Watt and that Watt got the money instead of him, which, I mean, that's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
Watt's a better player than Clowney.
Yeah.
So I think Clowney doesn't want that to happen again between him and Garrett because I think he knows that Garrett is a better player than he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll move on. Actually,
what
I think.
What do you guys think about Higgins? You think he's coming back?
He could come back. He's a great third wide receiver.
He is. I think. I think Freddie Kitchens ruined that whole thing with him. So I would not be surprised if he didn't come back. I think that he should definitely be our third wide receiver. I don't know why we never played him last year. He single-handedly won us that Bills game last year. And then the one play he got in about 5 weeks, he scored a touchdown. I think Baker likes playing with him also. He's a perfect fit for that team. He's got a ton of swagger, and a ton of energy. And this team, there's a lot of that on this team. I think he'd be a very good fit. So, yeah, I hope he comes back. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't, like you said about Clowney. So, yeah, I also think that Trent Williams, how people are saying the Browns are going to trade for Trent Williams, I don't really see that happening anymore. I mean,
I don't either.
It's been a while since he got traded or since those talks began, and I just don't see it happening. We've been talking about it since last year's trade deadline, and it still has not happened. So I just think it kind of fell through. I think they were definitely talking about it. Both I think when Dorsey was around, both front offices were talking about it. But now I think the talks fell through, and I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like to have Higgins back, but I think it's unlikely at this point.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing is, though, is I don't know where he's going to go from here. You know, I mean, maybe like the Patriots or a wide receiver needy team like that. But, and again, I don't know how much money Higgins wants in the first place.
There's still a lot of good wide receivers out there in free agency.
I'd like him on the Jets. That would be very interesting if he was on the Jets.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. So Higgins and then maybe like a CeeDee Lamb. And,
maybe. That could be a pretty.
That would be fun. And then they draft that quarterback they've been wanting. That would be
Well, I think they have their quarterback.
And Darnold. So but yeah. I don't know. I think this is Darnold's last shot.
I'm not willing to give up on any of the quarterbacks that was taken that year other than Josh Rosen.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Because I think that a lot of them are in uncertain situations, like Baker and Darnold, and even Allen is pretty. I mean, he's probably the second best quarterback come out of that draft so far. How long it's going to stay that way, I don't know.
Who?
But
Sam Darnold or Josh Allen?
Josh Allen.
So who's the best, do you think?
Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, sadly. Yeah. So, yeah, we might, that could be another episode. We could, rank QBs in draft classes and things.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, or like rank players. Or like redo drafts. Alright. Yeah, that's a good idea.
We got ideas.
Yeah.
We got plenty of episodes to do.
Yeah. Especially over the spring break. We could do a double whammy day, a double episode
Double whammy day.
Yeah.
I like that.
Double whammy day.
Yeah, I got nothing to do on Easter just because stuck at home. We'd be seeing each other anyway.
You know what we could do? We could get a lot of people on this Google Hangout, and we could probably do an episode.
The entire family.
Like
that'd be a pretty chaotic episode.
Some uncles, yeah. I mean, Johnny, you just hear the whole time. But you know, we'll move on.
Wait.
So in terms of free agency, I want to hear your guys' opinion on that, because I think this is the one place where the Browns have dropped the ball, and that's the linebacker position.
We saw B.J. Gibson.
Okay, all right. So
Okay. Mac Wilson, in my opinion, is the only starting caliber linebacker that we have on our team.
I mean,
Joe Schobert, happy we didn't sign him back. I think he was asking for too much.
No, I agree. After seeing that Jags contract, I'm glad we didn't sign him to that, even though I do like Schobert and I wish him the best.
Yeah, I think, but like I said, I think he's good. I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's worth that type of money.
But Jack, he made a Pro Bowl.
I think linebackers are really tough because the good linebackers in this league, you're not gonna get them trading wise. You're only gonna get them in free agency.
You're gonna either.
I think that we're probably gonna draft a couple linebackers this year. I'm sure Barry does have a plan, and I'm not willing to say anything just yet, but I'm sure he has a plan for linebacker. Maybe we do surprise everyone and take Isaiah Simmons in the first round, which I would have no problem with as long as we find a solution to the left tackle.
Yeah.
But
we'd have to trade up and get a left tackle. That's what I think.
I think if we do draft Simmons, we would trade for
Trent Williams. Did Jason Peters get picked up by anyone?
No, not yet.
Because if we draft Simmons, we could sign Peters to like a 1-year deal and then draft our left tackle next year.
Yeah.
Well, Peters right now is open to playing right tackle too, so a lot of teams might start going on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, so we'll move on to the draft now, I guess. So I think it's pretty obvious what this team's going to do in the draft. So our first round pick is 10th overall. I think we're going to take best offensive tackle available. If that means that nobody's been taken yet, I would probably say Mekhi Becton.
I would say Tristan Wirfs.
Tristan Wirfs.
I would say Tristan Wirfs fits our scheme the most. I don't think he's going to fall to 10, though.
Yeah.
Mekhi Becton is also a hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Mekhi Becton. I just don't like Mekhi Becton on the Browns.
Yeah.
I think he'd thrive on a team like the Buccaneers or a team like the Cardinals, but I don't think he'd be good in a scheme like the Browns.
Right. The guys that I would want are Willis from Alabama, Wirfs from Iowa, and then Thomas from Georgia.
Yeah.
Last time we took Thomas in the draft, he ended up being pretty good.
Yeah. See, the thing I want is I'm a little bit worried about Barry, or the thing I want to see is Barry in the draft, because I think if he does not draft well, the entire Browns franchise is about draft picks. That is where Chubbs come from, Mayfield's come from, Ward's come from. Like, Ward, when we were watching the draft and Ward got picked, nobody was really, mad, I would say, because Dorsey was new, and we kind of knew what Dorsey did in Kansas City. But
I was kind of mad, and I'm not going to lie. I wanted Bradley Chubb.
Everybody was shocked. And looking at what has happened with Ward, that was probably a better pick at this point. I even think Ward will be better in the future as well.
No, if he stays healthy, I agree.
He's one of the best corners in the NFL right now.
Right now, yeah. And then another, Chubb was a total snub. I think we got him in the second round last year.
Yeah, we got him in the third pick of the second round, I believe.
Yeah, or 2 years ago, not last year.
Right.
Who else? Mac Wilson is a very good player. Who else?
What do you guys think Taki's going to turn into?
That's what I was.
Do you guys see anything for him?
On the special teams this year, I think he'll play pretty well.
Because I'm kind of uncertain about Taki right now.
We haven't seen that much of Taki.
I think Taki was just, at that point, best available. I think Greedy Williams is kind of like that too. I'm not.
But Greedy did play pretty well.
Yeah, I'll say I'm gonna give Greedy another 2-3 years. See how it
Greedy,
turns out.
I think he'll be great.
Well, I want to see how all these rookies play outside of Kitchens' system because
Yeah.
I think that every rookie who had a decent to bad season last year deserves a pass just because of the coaching that was happening on this team last year.
They weren't ready. We had their head for a coach.
And I know people that just did not like the fact that Freddie got fired, but they have to realize, like, in a situation like that, okay, the Haslams have made awful firings. I don't agree with the Dorsey firing. I still think we should have kept Dorsey.
I think the thing about Dorsey is that he made a couple good picks, yes, and he made a couple blockbuster trades and a couple good free agency signings. But I think that his ego got the best of him, and that was the cause of his downfall.
Yeah.
I think if Dorsey can, shut his mouth and let everybody do their job, he could be a fantastic GM in this league. But until he figures that out and gets his ego in check and learns how to draft offensive linemen, he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna get hired anytime soon.
And I think that if we do manage to make the playoffs next year, I give very little credit to Barry, and I give all the credit to Dorsey.
Well, you see, it depends on how the season goes. I mean, if Barry's guys play just as good as Dorsey, then they each deserve partial credit.
Yeah. If
Barry's guys outperform Dorsey's guys, then Barry deserves the credit. And if Dorsey's guys outperform Barry's guys, then Dorsey deserves the credit.
Yeah. And with Dorsey, with the Chiefs, that was all Dorsey's team. I believe Dorsey drafted Mahomes.
He did.
Yeah, so...
Which is why I'm not willing to give up on Baker just yet.
Yes, exactly.
Because, I mean, the guy that drafted Mahomes, the current best quarterback in the league, probably player in the league, he knows how to draft a quarterback.
Uh-huh.
Well, if you can remember here, Barry drafted Gary, Peppers, and Njoku in the first round.
That is true.
That was Sashi Brown.
That was No, but Barry was in the room with him.
Oh, Barry. I thought you said Dorsey. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But
yeah, I think Barry will draft well.
Sashi Brown was not a very smart guy. I'm not going to...
No, I think Sashi Brown did exactly what this team needed because, I think, Jack, you and I talked about this one time where the Browns were always bad, but not bad enough to get, like, a really, really good pick. Uh-huh. And the Browns were just kind of in that purgatory cycle for a long time.
Kind of like the Lions are now,
Yeah, kind of. And
the Jets.
I think that Sashi Brown did the correct thing in just destroying everything so that we could just rebuild. And, I mean, look where we are now because of him.
Yeah. And I
mean, if the Browns make the playoffs last year, I'm going to give Sashi Brown some credit because, and he didn't draft poorly either. I mean, yeah, he drafted a couple busts like Kaiser. But, I mean, that guy's responsible for Garrett. That guy's responsible for Njoku. I'm pretty sure he drafted Joel Bitonio. I could be wrong on that, but I think he did.
Did he draft the 15 draft?
No, that was Ray Farmer.
Then no, he didn't.
Okay. I thought that...
Yeah, because in that draft, we also wasted our first 2 picks on Johnny Manziel and...
Gilbert.
Well, we could have taken Aaron Donald.
Or Odell.
But
yeah.
But here's the thing. So the reason I don't agree when people say, "Oh, we could have drafted Odell and Aaron Donald." Well, look at the team now. We want to have Baker. We want to have Garrett. Because we would have been better. So that's not necessarily saying, yeah, I would agree.
We could have been better sooner. That's what people are trying to say.
Yes. But really.
I mean, imagine if we took Bridgewater over Manziel.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Bridgewater's the GOAT, so I wouldn't have been complaining. But, yeah, I wouldn't have been too mad about that. Yeah, so, who do you guys think we'll go for in the second round? So we have the second round, 9th overall pick. Then we have 2 third-round picks, the 10th and the 33rd, and And then we have the 4th round, 9th pick, and the 6th round, 8th pick.
I think if Patrick Queen falls that far into the 2nd round for us to get him, we'll get him.
Who does? I didn't
Patrick
hear
Queen,
you.
linebacker at LSU.
Okay. I've seen a lot of mocks having Delpit going to the Browns in the 2nd round if he falls that far.
That's what Mel Kiper said, and I would be more than happy for that to happen.
Well, if we do draft Delpit or McKinney in the 2nd round, and then I think we'll take either the Oregon linebacker or the Ohio State linebacker in the 3rd round.
Who's the Ohio State linebacker?
I can't remember.
Jordan Fuller?
I think that's what his name was.
Oh, okay. I would have no problem with that.
Yeah.
That guy's pretty good.
I would not be opposed to that though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know many guys outside of the 1st round, but I mean, like, I think we're just gonna go based off of position. You know, what we need the most. I think we're going to draft a lot of linebackers in this draft. I think we're going to draft a lot of DBs in this draft. We're going to draft a couple offensive linemen, maybe a receiver.
I think what it'll go offensive tackle with our 1st round pick. 2nd round pick will draft a safety. 3rd round pick will draft a linebacker. Other 3rd round pick will draft a guard. With our 4th round pick, we'll probably draft a wide receiver. Our 6th and 7th round picks are best available.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. So, interesting report I heard the other day. We kind of talked about this yesterday outside of the podcast. But the Browns interviewed CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Hurts. I think CeeDee Lamb's more of like a smokescreen thing, but Jalen Hurts does kind of intrigue me, just because I think that he can. You know, he and Baker, they both played at Oklahoma, not together, but they both played at Oklahoma under, you know, very similar offenses. And I think that Hurts is very athletic. He's very fast. And I think that he could
like
kind of
Mariota type of guy for the Titans.
Like a Mariota type of guy, or like a Taysom Hill type role.
Well,
and that to me is very intriguing if we were able to get him in like the 3rd round or something like that, if he falls that far.
I'm thinking if we draft him, he might be the next guy if Baker doesn't perform well next year. I know Baker's our guy, but if he doesn't, maybe we'll start Jalen Hurts for the first couple games, see how he plays, and if he plays well, then maybe he'll be our starter for the next years.
So
I disagree because I don't see Jalen Hurts being a good NFL quarterback.
Early 2nd round or late 2nd round?
We'll look up Mel Kiper NFL mock draft.
Yeah, I don't think Hurts will be a good NFL quarterback, honestly. He doesn't...
To go to the Saints. That's about it.
Hurts on the Saints, I could see that.
I just think going to the Packers, too, because Aaron Rodgers like to scramble a bit.
Yeah, you said that in your mock draft. I disagree. I think the Packers will go wide receiver 1st round.
They probably will, but if they do, they might pick him up 2nd round.
Maybe.
Yeah, So, are you guys... I think it's time to move on to the All-Decade team.
Yeah, you guys have anything else you want to say about the draft? Because I think I said everything I wanted to.
Yeah, I don't got anything.
All right.
So, we'll move on to the All-Decade team. The Cleveland Browns All-Decade team. This is kind of tough to do. I'm not going to lie.
We haven't had any good players.
Yeah.
We'll go by position, I think.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
So, start off with quarterback. You guys go first.
Brennan?
So, I have Baker Mayfield for the quarterback. I understand he kind of had a rough season last year, but his rookie year, I mean, there have been 2 good years a Browns quarterback has had in the last decade, in my opinion. That was Hoyer's year and Mayfield's rookie year. And I think that Mayfield's rookie year was just stronger than Hoyer's year was, just because even though Hoyer did have a pretty good year, I mean, nobody really expected him to be on the team for that long. He played better than everyone expected him to, but I just think that Baker Mayfield, he's the go-to pick here, because I think he is overall a better quarterback than Hoyer was, even back in, I think it was 2014.
Okay, I'll go next. I have Brian Hoyer. Hoyer played very well on the Browns in his in his good couple of years with the Browns. I think he played very well here. He was playing great. We were thinking about going to the playoffs, and then we started Manziel. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah, quarterback has definitely been the toughest position for the Browns, not just in this decade, but in the last 2 decades.
Yeah, I'd go with you there. Yeah, Danny, I agreed with you on this one. I also took Brian Hoyer. I think Hoyer had, I think Mayfield's and Hoyer's year were about the same. I definitely think Baker will be a better quarterback at the end of the day, and I'm not taking anything away from Baker. I just think they were about the same in their first year, 2 years together, or their first years. And then the only thing that made me pick Hoyer over him was where they actually came from. So Hoyer, he wasn't expecting much out of this position, and Mayfield being another number 1 pick, I just think it was my selection was Hoyer, and yeah.
Yeah, just as a disclaimer to anyone listening, we're not basing this based off of who is the best player, but who did the most when they were on the Browns.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So, you'll see when we get to a couple positions where we'll pick one guy over another, even though the other guy is better. It's based on what they did when they were in the brown and orange, as opposed to in their career, and who is the most athletic and best players in each position.
All right.
So I mean, Hoyer and Mayfield, basically the only 2 good quarterbacks we've had in the last decade. I doubt anyone has any honorable mentions, and we could just move on to running back.
Yeah, I don't really have any honorable
I want to mention Brandon Whedon. I think he played very
Dude,
that
man's the GOAT. All right.
Whedon.
So we'll move on to running back. I think this one was pretty straightforward, at least for the first pick. We have Nick Chubb. I have Nick Chubb, at least.
I have Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
That one's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that one's pretty obvious. Now, the second one was kind of tough, but I put Duke Johnson there.
Okay.
So, I think Duke Johnson was super underrated, and I don't think we utilized him enough. I definitely think, once we picked up Hunt, he deserved to go. But I think Johnson was a super underrated player, and from what I've seen of Johnson, which I've seen a lot of him, and especially in the years when we went 0-16 and 1-15, I think he was one of the best players on our team. So that's why I gave him this spot on this team.
I'll go. I have Carlos Hyde. During his time here in Cleveland, he played above average. He played pretty well. I think he played well enough that Hugh Jackson didn't want him to start over Nick Chubb, which isn't that great of an honor, but I mean it happens. So then Dorsey traded him to the Texans, I think it was.
Well, he got traded to the Jags, and then he signed with the Texans after that year.
To the Jags, okay. He still played well. I think that he played very well in orange and brown.
Yeah, I have the Crow, Isaiah Crowell.
Okay.
You know, the guy. I mean, I respect the Hyde and Johnson picks, and it was between Crowell and Johnson for me. But I just think that even though Johnson is very good, Crowell is more of a traditional running back. You know, he's more of a, even though he is a little bit of a skinnier guy, he's very fast and he can, you know, power through in certain situations. And he actually was on the Browns for like a pretty, I don't know the exact years, but he was on the Browns for a good amount of time before getting cut by Dorsey after the 0-16 season, I believe it was. And, you know, I've always kind of had a soft spot for him.
No, after he did the white butt celebration thing, I kind of...
No, yeah, that after a season with the Jets, that was it for him.
Yeah.
But I don't even think he's on a team anymore.
No,
but
I think he still is.
Is he still on the Jets? Is he Bell's backup?
Up Le'Veon Bell, yeah.
Yeah, and I always also thought that Crowell would be better as, you know, kind of that specialist
Yeah,
third down
guy.
running back
Yeah.
that you put in during like certain plays anyway, as opposed to a starter. So that's why I had him here.
Okay, let's say the wide receiver at the same time.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Josh
Gordon.
Okay.
I actually think we all said someone different, but
Yeah.
okay.
No, I'd say Josh Gordon.
Oh, I said Josh Gordon too.
I said Josh Gordon too. I just said Josh Cribbs first.
You're putting Cribbs at receiver?
Yeah. What?
What'd you put him at?
Returner.
Well,
Returner.
I put him at returner too. Yeah. But
I just had him at returner.
Oh,
He was a decent receiver. I just had him at returner. My receivers are Landry Gordon and Andrew Hawkins.
Gordon, Juice, and Travis Benjamin.
Yeah, I have Landry, I have Gordon, and I have Cribbs as my 3 receivers.
Obviously honorable mention to Odell, but like, and I do like Odell, and he'll definitely be a good player for the Browns going forward. It's just, as we said, what he has done for the Browns, and honestly, I haven't been too thrilled with what he has done with this team. I don't blame it all on him. I blame a lot of it on Kitchens and the O-line, Baker never having any time to throw to him. And obviously he's under double coverage a lot, which opens up great receivers like Landry up a lot, so he doesn't get thrown to as much as he did in New York.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I would agree with you there.
I think Hawkins is extremely underrated.
What?
You know, he had a really good season with the really good couple of seasons with the Browns before Hugh Jackson was the coach.
I'm gonna take Cribbs off there. I'm gonna take Cribbs.
And I'm gonna give another honorable mention to Terrell Pryor.
Yes.
He wasn't good enough to make the team in my opinion, but the guy had how long was he on the team? Was he on the team for 2 years?
2-3
I think.
years.
2-3 years.
All positions on the field.
He was our number one option for a while, and everyone thought he was going to be the next best thing. And Terrell Pryor is kind of an interesting player to me, just because he seems to be the one player where his career got worse after he left the Browns as opposed to when he got here. So, yeah. Also, he had that God game in Miami when he had to be put in at quarterback because we quite literally ran out of quarterbacks because they all got hurt.
God, oh my gosh. All right, so we'll move on to the tight end position. I think this one was pretty straightforward too. We got Jordan Cameron and Gary Barnidge.
That's exactly who I had.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, Jordan Cameron was a great player. He was one of my favorite players to watch on the Browns, like ever. And then he left for Miami. And then Gary Barnidge, like Danny said earlier, before the podcast we were talking, he was a 90 overall in Madden one year. That's the highest player the Browns had from probably 2007 to 2017 besides Joe Thomas. So.
Also the leg catch.
Oh, the leg catch. Yeah. Of course.
You can't forget the leg catch.
Yeah.
That was his career highlight, man.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just all say the O tackle at the same time. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Greg
Robinson. It's Joe Thomas. It's so obvious. Yeah. He's probably he's not just the best left tackle the last decade. He's probably the best left tackle the Browns have had of all time.
Yeah.
He's one of the best ever.
He's definitely one of the best ever. I also have Mitchell Schwartz as tackle, and then my 2 guards. You have who?
I have Schwartz there too at tackle.
Yeah.
Do we all have the same O-line? I think we might.
You also have Joel Antonio, Kevin Zeitler, and Alex Mack at center.
Yep.
That's who I have.
Yep.
Okay, Sam.
And then I'm gonna give a shout out to what was his name? I just forgot. You mentioned his name earlier. I'm totally having a brain.
It's
Greco.
Yeah, Greco.
He was part of that really good offensive line in 2015.
John Greco.
So, even though Zeitler is easily better than Greco was a very solid guard.
Mm-hmm. All right, so time to move to the defensive side. On my defensive line, I have Myles Garrett, Jabril Shear, Larry Ogunjobi, and Danny Shelton.
Same.
I have the same, except one of my D tackles instead of Shelton, I have Ataba Rubin, if you guys remember him.
Nope.
I don't know.
You don't remember him? He was actually pretty solid. He was more early 2010s, early to mid
I saw
2010s.
that when I was looking at the rosters.
I mean, he wasn't like fantastic, but I mean, he was a very solid player.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So now we'll go to linebacker. I have Jamie Collins, Joe Schobert, and Christian Kirksey.
I have Joe Schobert, Christian Kirksey, and DeQuil Jackson.
That's exactly what I have, Danny. Yeah. I mean, Schobert and Kirksey I have a lot more to say for than DeQuil Jackson. DeQuil Jackson was decent, but he was on the team for a long time. Schobert and Kirksey. Schobert's probably the best linebacker, I'd say, the last decade.
For the Browns.
Kirksey probably should have been the best, though, had he not had all those injuries.
A healthy Kirksey is the best.
A healthy Kirksey, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated linebackers in the league. You know, the secondary is definitely the highlight of this all-decade team. So, does anyone have anything to say about the front seven before we move on?
I do not. I'm good.
All
right.
All right, so my secondary I have for the cornerbacks Denzel Ward and Joe Hayden, which I'm pretty sure you both have as well.
I have Jason
Same.
McCourty and Joe Hayden. I think
You don't have Denzel Ward?
No, I mean, Ward had a little bit of a rough season this year, I feel. Not his self in his first year. I think McCourty.
I mean, I guess you could kind of say that about everyone this year opposed to last year.
True. I feel McCourty was very underrated while he was here. And I think the Patriots saw that in him and decided to pick him up. And then for my safeties, I have Peppers and T.J. Ward.
Same.
I have T.J. Ward as well, but I have Deshaun Gibson as my other safety.
Gibson. I totally forgot about Gibson.
Yeah, he was a pretty solid player in my opinion.
He was probably just as good as Peppers. Probably even better.
I think he's better than Peppers.
Yeah.
Just because he's a little more proven than Peppers is.
And then finally we'll go on to the kick returner. Do you guys have kickers and punters and all that?
I have a kicker and punter.
I do too.
Me too. So
Okay.
I'm gonna start off with the kick returner. I went with Josh Cribbs on this one.
Same.
I think everyone did. That's the most obvious pick in this, in my opinion. That and Joe Thomas.
Yeah. Then we'll go to kicker. I have Phil Dawson.
I have Phil Dawson.
I have Phil Dawson. Another really obvious pick.
And
Probably the best Browns kicker of all time.
Yeah, and then finally punter. This one was either between Britton Colquitt or Spencer Lanning. I went with Colquitt.
I did too.
Yeah.
I went with Gillian. Haha.
Really?
Gillen, the Scottish Hammer.
Gillian had a solid year.
I
think for
good.
he was one of the bright spots on this Browns team.
Yeah.
I mean, the special teams was okay, but I mean, the punting was A1.
The thing about the Browns is that our offensive line, until this year, our offensive line and special teams had always been very good. Or last year, until last year.
I mean, the funny thing about the 2010 Browns, the last decade, is that we've always had a lot of good players, just never at the same time. And we've always had bad coaching and bad quarterbacks up until we drafted Baker.
Yeah. So I think if I were to build a team like this, I think I'd replace Brian Hoyer and Baker Mayfield and then put all these guys in their prime. I definitely I think this team could definitely make a Super Bowl or even win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the thing about this team is that the Browns have, because of the way that we've been, is that I think that this all-time team the all-decade team that we've just built would be one of the better teams in the NFL. But I mean, it wouldn't be a complete blowout like teams like the Patriots would.
Yeah.
You know, it would actually be a pretty normal team in the NFL, which is kind of sad but interesting and at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Yeah. All right. So we just hit 54 minutes and 45 seconds. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back with episode 5 probably tomorrow night. Or maybe tonight if we do end up filming another episode. I doubt it. But thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time. Peace.